Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is going to be about Raw, the Superstars, and some other news from other organizations that some former WWE talent that are now competing in, and some WCW talent as well. And first, I'll always give you the news. Stone Cold wrote on his official website that he may be participating in a hunt soon with Shawn Michaels that could air on Shawn's McMillan River Adventure Show. As noted before, Drew McIntyre is set to be repackaged with an arrogant Playboy gimmick soon. According to fans at this weekend's SmackDown Live event in Honduras, Drew appeared to be acting more sexually and flirting with male fans in the crowd, even blowing kisses at some. So, it looks to me he might be doing a kind of gimmick like Rick Martel was doing, Rick the Model. He also stopped in the middle of his match against Ezekiel Jackson to comb his hair. Drew still lost to Zeke in the match. WWE superstar Ted DiBiase Jr. and his wife are expecting their first child on May 30th of this year. Also, some more pregnancy news. Former WWE stars Charlie Haas and his wife Jackie gayda-haas are expecting their fourth child sometime this year. Former diva Tori Wilson was with her boyfriend Alex Rodriguez at the NBA All-Star Game last night. But she still talks to her former flame, Billy Kidman, on Facebook. Former NBA star Dennis Rodman had been announced to appear at Wrestle Reunion in Miami, Florida on April 1st, 2012, the same day as WrestleMania. The former Chicago Bulls player appeared for WCW numerous times in the late 1990s as a member of the NWO, New World Order. Of course, black and white. The Will Ferrell comedy featuring an appearance by WWE superstar The Miz has been renamed to The Campaign. It will be released on August the 10th. Rey Mysterio spoke with WDFN Radio in Detroit and said his main goal right now is to make it back in the ring by WrestleMania 28. Mysterio added that he would like to be in the Money in the Bank match, if there is one, and said he's up for a match against Sin Cara if his knee is ready and he can move the way he usually does. But Sin Cara is not going to make it either by WrestleMania. Well, there's a lawsuit involving an independent wrestler named his real name John Levy Miller, has filed a lawsuit against Clinton Woosley, another wrestler who wrestles as Guido Andretti, for rupturing his testicle during a match last June. The testicle required surgical removal after the match. Well, the radio station, I believe it was WHAS or TV, dwhaas, the initials, 11, in Louisville, Kentucky, reported that John Miller, a.k.a. wrestler name Jay Mills, filed a lawsuit Monday against fellow wrestler Clinton Woosley. His name was Guido Andretti, for allegedly kicking him in the groin during a match and causing one of his testicles to burst. Miller, who was 23, was wrestling Woosley at the Coliseum Championship Wrestling event in Evansville, Indiana last June. Miller says Woosley went off script and violently kicked him between the legs. Miller, who did not have health insurance, owes over $20,000 for a surgery procedure to remove his testicle. He says he faces an uncertain future as a result of the injury. Well, Miller is seeking a jury trial, legal fees, and unspecified compensation for medical expenses related to the surgery. Miller is also seeking future medical expenses he may incur from erectile dysfunction, loss of testosterone, and loss of sex drive, and health consequences. Well, you can read more on the story at courier-journal.com. Miller also is accusing the Coliseum Championship Wrestling owner, Sam Crosby a breach of contract for failing to ensure that Woosley was adequately trained. Well, most indie companies have talent sign a waiver for all injuries and are on their own. So if you get injured in a match, thus you are trained not to do certain things. I don't know what deal he had with them on that, and the matter is up in the air on that. I don't know what they have signed for their contract. But due to the fact that he was off script, then I believe he should pay the consequences. Okay, another wrestling company, Steel Domain Wrestling Promotion, will return to the West St. Paul Armory in West St. Paul, Minnesota on April 28th. And the show will be headlined by NWA champion Adam Pearce versus Benjamin Saylor, plus Greg Gagne and Jumping Jim Bronzell, formerly of WCW and WWF, will make a special appearance. And Greg Gagne was also with AWA. And in cooperation with Heavy on Wrestling, former WWE diva Maria will also appear. And congratulations to Maria. She became the first ever women's champion in I believe it was, it's not Ring of Honor, but it's another company. Okay, the Minnesota-based indie promotion is promoted by Ed Hellier and features names such as CM Punk, Austin Aries, Mr. Anderson, Sean DeVary, ODB, Lacey Von Erich, Madison Rain, Ace Steel, Colt Cabana, Pierce, and many more before they went on to succeed on the national level. This will be the first SDW show at the WSP Armory in over 8 years, and definitely looking forward for the results to that. And the reporter says that they were a regular at the past SDW events. Scott Hall's son, named Cody Hall, is featured in a 2-minute video on WWE legend Scott Hall's website. The captain notes that Cody is training at Team Vision Dojo for his pro wrestling debut, and you can view the video on YouTube. I meant to write them down, but ran out of time. Here's hoping that this is a sign that the relationship between Scott and Cody has improved since Cody's mother indicated that they had a falling out prior to the ESPN documentary airing. He noted in the video that he hopes to make his father proud, but is still starting a pro wrestling career for himself. He's not pressured into doing anything. He wants to do it himself. Okay, a 2-minute video also aired about Saturday's Universal Championship Wrestling event from the North Atlanta Trade Center, available online for viewing on YouTube as well. I believe you can look it up for Universal Championship Wrestling. That's UCW. And the show features WWE or WWF stars Matt Hardy. He faced Luke Gallows in the main event. And the video showed that Matt Hardy was in good shape, is in great shape, and is described as respectful and sober by one observer. Plus, Scott Steiner, Rock and Roll Express, Johnny Fairplay, Buff the Stuff Bagwell, and other notable names appeared on the show. I have the full results in just a few seconds. Well, first match was Scotty Matthews and Chris Jacobs. Their tag team name is Joint Task Force. Defeated Spyro and Kuntz. Spyro and Kuntz attacked before the bell. Jacobs got the upper hand and faced off against Spyro. There were a few tags in and out between the tag teams. Crowd got hot for Matthews and Jacobs. There were back and forth tags again between the teams. Jacobs took heat from both Spyro and Kuntz. He eventually got tagged in a hot tag to Matthews, who had a modified jawbreaker on Spyro coming off the top rope for the win. Number 2, former TNA star Lance Hoyt. He's going by as Lance Hoyt again. Formerly known as Vance Archer in WWE. Well, he defeated Micah Taylor. The crowd popped for Big for Taylor and instantly gave heat to Hoyt. They chain wrestled. Wow, chain wrestle for a big guy? Must be seen to believe it. and on the start off. And Taylor ended up landing some big right hands. Hoyt took the advantage, but Taylor mounted a big comeback. Hit a huge clothesline. Taylor went to the top rope and met with a big boot. Sending Taylor to the mat, Hoyt won with a big reverse DDT. Matt Hardy's fiance or current girlfriend, Reby Sky, defeated Melissa Coates. Coates had the power game and had control most of the match. My guess is Reby was added to the card when Matt Hardy was. Reby was keeping the headlock going only to have Coates power out. Coates went for numerous pins. Reby won with a bulldog out of the corner. Former TNA talent, Chase Stevens, defeated Chris Hamrick. ECW chant started before the lockup. So I guess Chase was also in ECW. There was a bunch of playing to the crowd, and Hamrick walked away up the ramp. Hamrick came back and got hit with an arm drag. Hamrick got Stevens on the middle rope and ran at him. Stevens moved, and Hamrick went flying to the ground. Stevens then slammed a few times on the solid grab before rolling him back into the ring. Stevens turned Hamrick inside out with a clothesline for a close 2 count. Hamrick hit with a super kick for a 2. Stevens caught Hamrick trying to go over him in the corner and slammed him for the 3 count. Match number 5, Shane Williams defeated Stephen Walters. I don't know anything about these two guys. After a few breaks, Walters finally connected with a chop. After some exchanges, Walters hit a shoulder block, sending Williams to the outside. Williams landed a huge boot to the face of Walters coming out of the corner. Williams distracted the ref and hit a low blow on Walters and headed to the top rope. He landed a closed fist followed by a pile driver for the win. Well, by the description, he must have came off the top rope, closed fist. And then sets up the pile driver for the win. Well, okay, match number 6, Hot Like Lava, other known as HLL, with his manager, Johnny Fairplay, defeated Rock and Roll Express. So I guess this was a tag team match. Well, Rock and Roll Express got a huge pop out of the crowd and was on fire. HLL tried to get the upper hand, but was continuously cut off by the Rock and Roll Express. Fairplay tried to pull the ropes together, but the entire group was sent crashing to the floor. Ricky Morton took the first bump for Rock and Roll. Morton got hit with a tiki torch by Fairplay, which ended the match, and HLL got the 3 count. Buff and Scott Steiner, the former of WCW, also WWE, WWF, tag teamed. Well, they came out and they were the intermission break. You could take pictures similar to a TNA. Well, they charge $20 just like TNA does. So everybody went to the bathroom during the intermission. Former ECW star and WCW star Lodi defeated Antonio Garza in match number 7. Lodi came out carrying his own signs, just like he did in WCW, saying things like, "All Lodi fans are rednecks," "You are fat," and "This crowd stinks" signs. The match got up to a very back and forth action, with Lodi having some playful tactics. Somehow Lodi ended up busting his lip, but gained the upper hand on Garza. Lodi went to the middle rope, and Garza rolled out of the way of a leg drop. Garza climbed to the top and missed the senton, and Lodi hit a big DDT for the win. Match number 8, El Veterano beat John Skyler. Don't know, it sounds like a luchador mask guy to me. And John Skyler, I'm unfamiliar about them. Well, Veterano brought some impressive high-flying offense, and Skyler continuously got heat from the crowd. Skyler was monkey flipped out of the corner and landed in a DDT-type angle. Skyler rolled out of the ring, and Veterano followed, only to end up being thrown into the stairs. Skyler continued a violent offense by slamming him into the guardrail. Veterano gets to the ring and hit a springboard crossbody on Skyler on the outside. Skyler regained control once again back in the ring. Skyler got a couple of near falls and went for a few submissions, but Veterano powers out. Skyler finally caught a sleeper, and Veterano's hand dropped twice before he came back to life and hit a jawbreaker on Skyler, sending him to the middle Wrote Veterano tied her too long and gave Skyler time to hit a big drop kick. Veterano was whipped into the ropes and hit a wheelbarrow bulldog. After a reversal, Skyler landed a big super kick, and the entire crowd goes, ooh. Veterano went to the top later on and was knocked split-leggedly on the ropes. Skyler went for a superplex and was knocked to the mat, followed by Veterano landing a splash from the top for the win. Number 9, Brody Chase and Mike Knox, former of WWE, with Johnny Fairplay as manager, defeated Buff the Stuff and Big Papa Slump, Scott Steiner. Chase and Bagwell went back and forth, playing to the crowd in the corners. The match got off to a slow start, with Bagwell taking a few bumps from Chase, but definitely picked up when Knox tried to interfere, and Steiner caught him with a clothesline. Steiner and Knox both got tagged in, and the crowd obviously behind Steiner, who worked over Knox for a minute before Knox puts a big knee into his gut. Steiner ducked a clothesline and hooked Knox before slamming him face first, dropping the elbow, doing some push-ups, like elbow. You know how Scott Steiner does his things. Anyways, we're back to the action. Okay. Bagwell and Knox both hit clotheslines, spending time sending them to the mat. Steiner got the hot tag and worked over Knox and sent Chase to the floor. Steiner hit a belly suplex, but the pin was broken up by Chase, who was hit with a huge Frankensteiner. Fairplay snuck into the ring, and Bagwell hit him with a double underhook DDT. Bagwell turns around and got ran over by Knox, who covers him for the 3 count. Bagwell then grabbed a mic and set a challenge for March 24th, and these are on TV, well, unknown what TV station they are on, saying that they will bring a manager of their own, or the match can happen right now. Knox and Chase teased coming down, and Fairplay took the mic and screamed some words, I guess they were, and the trio retreated to the back. Match number 10, your main event. Matt Hardy defeated Big LG, that's Luke Gallows, for those that didn't know. Oh, you didn't know? I just told you so. LG came out with a straight edge gimmick, and the crowd instantly hated him. As most fans had a beer in their hand, Hardy hands down got the biggest pop of the night. He looked to be in good shape, and the match was back and forth at the start with some impressive chain wrestling. Hardy carried over a headlock, bringing Gallows to the mat. LG battled out and got the upper hand with some big punches, putting Hardy in the corner. Hardy battled back with a neck breaker and got the crowd behind him. Hardy went for the twist of fate, but he was pushed off and met a big boot. LG took control again, but was quickly put in a sleeper by Hardy. LG fought out and got Hardy in a sleeper of his own. Hardy faded out, but got to a vertical base. He was quickly taken back down with a big left hand. LG got a near fall and picked right back up, throwing Hardy across the ring. LG locked in a chokehold for a solid minute before whipping Hardy back to the ground. LG went for the splash, and Hardy rolled out of the way and took back over control. And the crowd got hot. Hardy hit the side effect and went to the second rope, putting an elbow in the back of LG's head. LG battled back. Out of nowhere, Hardy hit the twist of fate for the 3 count. And that was the end of the results for that one. Ricardo Rodriguez indicated that he was not on the road this week with the Raw crew for Raw tonight in Portland, Oregon for tonight's Super Show. This could be a sign that Alberto Del Rio isn't scheduled for tonight's Raw, but Del Rio returned at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Ricardo was not with him. Dolph Ziggler will be in action at tomorrow night's SmackDown tapings in Seattle, Washington. Big Sexy Kevin Nash stars in another movie called Magic Mike. And guess what? His character is a male stripper. Okay. So search for Magic Mike somewhere and you might find some news on it. Well, okay, Raw took place in Portland, Oregon at the Rose Garden. The show features the return of The Rock, who will presumably respond to John Cena's promo from last week's Minneapolis show. Triple H is advertised also for the show. But Undertaker and Shawn Michaels are not. But Shawn is advertised for next week's Raw. The following dark matches are advertised for tonight's Raw event in Portland, Oregon. John Cena versus Kane and CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. WWE made good on both of those advertised matches at the Target Center last week, with the Cena match going on last. WWE legend Mick Foley appeared on the UK Sky Sports News studio to promote his latest comedy tour. Foley said he doesn't know what he'll do at WrestleMania 28, but he is scheduled. He said it's likely, and he's well known for losing to Triple H and Undertaker, so he's quoted by saying, maybe I'll be the referee of that match. I'm just thinking out loud, Foley said. I'll play some type of role. I'm part of the weekend, you know. And they just don't waste time for paying somebody just to show up. My guess is that HBK will be your special referee. WWE diva Natalya recalled meeting Beth Phoenix for the first time in a recent blog spot. In 2005 in Japan, I had never met Beth Phoenix, nor did I know of her. Natalya wrote, somehow in other parts of the world we were sharing the same passion and looking like twins doing it. I'd later come to find out Beth was fanatical about the Hart family and had a special soft spot for Owen, long before his passing. And she's also quoted by saying she had been compared to she had been compared to me much of her career, and I had been compared to her. Yet we never had met each other. It's so great now that we can laugh at all of this, especially sharing the same finishing moves. So many years ago, Beth wrestled Sumi too, Sumi style wrestling or whatever. So we also have that in common. Yeah, Natalya had the Glam Slam as her finishing maneuver back in the day. And you can read the full blog at nattyneidhart.com. Natalya was using what was known as a Glam Slam as her own finisher prior to adopting to the sharpshooter from Bret Hart. Her website is relatively new upon first glance. There is no flatulence involved, which is a good thing. And now for your superstars, 2 matches from the Raw brand. Santino Marella defeated Kurt Hawkins. The crowd was very pro Santino. I believe Tyler Rex was trying to get involved in the match, but to the avail, Santino still won the match. WWE Divas champion Beth Phoenix defeated Alicia Fox in a pretty decent match from what I understood from 2 different sites. They both gave the same result somewhat. And Raw opens up with footage of John Cena's promo from last week. Opening theme music played. Pyro was shot off on the stage. Michael Cole introduced the show from ringside. Jerry the King Lawler hyped The Rock would appear live. Well, he didn't. He did one segment, commercial break, later on the show, and then he was the main event. Wasted the last 25 minutes of the program because it went like 21 minutes over. It's good to see that they didn't waste any time in reminding the viewers that The Rock would appear while stressing the live part. It would have been nice to hear some mic work from Punk and Bryan, but I like it when WWE shakes up things in the usual promo segment by going with a match right out of the gate for the first time in ages. CM Punk came to the ring first. The announcers narrated footage of the Punk versus Daniel Bryan match as the general manager is squabbling from the live SmackDown special. Justin Roberts was about to introduce Bryan when he was interrupted by Chris Jericho's entrance music. Jericho walks to the ring expecting somebody else. Punk? Jericho asks as his jacket lit up. Jericho said he knows Punk has a big match, but what he has to say is more important. Jericho says he thinks Punk is an amazing performer and he's one of his favorites. But you're not as good as I am, yada, yada, yada. Jericho said Punk isn't the best in the world at everything he does, and he knows it. Jericho said he never had to call himself the best in the world. He said the people said it for him. The crowd booed loudly, and he said that he's part of a special breed of performers that toured the world that donned their crap before they got to WWE, he said they cared more about having the best match than backstage politics. Well, Jericho recalled developing a reputation for having a bad attitude with the WWE powers that be. He said he didn't care because he knew he was the best. He said Punk is like him, and he's the maverick who went against the grain and became more than anyone thought he could. In translation, that just means you want to be me, Jericho said. Punk said he knows how good Jericho is, and the people also know how good he is. Punk said that the problem he has is Jericho insinuating that he stole from him. Punk said he's never done that in his life. Punk recalled watching Bret Hart saying he was the best there was, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Did you give that to him when you were like 2 years old? Punk asked. Well, Jericho encouraged the fans to laugh it up. Jericho said it's typical smarmy, sarcastic. Never take anything seriously, Punk. Jericho said Punk has to take him seriously because he's different. Jericho says he's proven for the last 22 years that he's the best in the world. Jericho told the fans again that they can boo, but they know it's the damn truth. Jericho boasted about beating all of the legends, having classic matches, winning titles, etc. Fans chanted for Punk. Jericho said that they could chant all they want, but he's showing them evidence that he is indeed the best in the world at what he does. Punk said Jericho's words screams superiority, but his body language screams inferiority. Are you trying to prove to me that you're the best? Punk asked. Are you trying to prove to the people that you're the best? Or are you trying to prove to yourself that you're the best? Punk said Jericho looks at him and sees a person that overcame everything he did, but he ultimately accomplished more by becoming the man, more than Jericho did. Punk accused Jericho of having a Napoleon complex. Punk then says he's the best wrestler in the world. He said he was born this way, and this is who he is and what he does. He said Jericho leaves to write books, host radio shows, appear on the game shows, etc. Punk then said he's swimming with sharks while Jericho is off dancing with stars. When I was dancing with stars, Punk, and killing it on the Tonight Show and becoming a bigger star than you ever were, all I can think of is one thing, and that is you ripping me off. Jericho said that all of the January 2nd vignettes, the best in the world verbiage, and the flashy jacket is just window dressing. Jericho said that he returned for one reason, and that was to beat Punk for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania and to shove it down his throat while proving that he is the best in the world at what he does. Then the crowd boos. Well, that's all you got to say? Punk said. He said Jericho merely had to grab him and say the best in the world versus best in the world at WrestleMania. Punk said most people point at the sign this time of the year, but he's going to point at his title. He said he doesn't need Chris Brown, and Jericho doesn't need Mickey Rourke. Punk said the only thing that they need is the two of them in a ring, what could be the greatest wrestling match in the world at WrestleMania history. He said that Jericho sees them celebrating. It won't be the end of the world. It'll just be the end of Jericho's world. Interruption. Brett Daniel Bryan made his entrance with AJ. John Laurinaitis and David Tonga then headed to ringside with him. From behind, Jericho headed to the back. Punk focused on Laurinaitis. Bryan used the distraction to attack Punk, who came back and threw Bryan into the ringside area. Very strong verbal exchange from Punk and Jericho. I like the way that they slowly chipped away everything made about it, which was one of the better than the other. Hoping for a change with a pace to match that with the opening show. I'm not complaining after that mic work. Match number 1. CM Punk fought Daniel Bryan to a no contest again in a champion versus champion match in 10 minutes 15 seconds. Match is joined in progress after the break. Santino Marella and Teddy Long were on Lawler's side of the table, while Laryngitis and Otunga were on the coleslaw side. They bickered while Punk and Bryan fought inside the ring. Bryan took a bump to the floor and faked a knee injury. Punk wanted to go for a move, but AJ was in the way. Bryan used the distraction to go on the offense before another commercial break. Hate the way they have the two champions in the ring, yet the commentary is focused on the general manager feud. And it feels so counterproductive, Punk and Bryan, with the title matches at WrestleMania, while the general manager match, whatever it turns out to be, will be perceived as a mid-card attraction at best. WWE has dropped the ball on this countless times. And I'm amazed that they keep finding new ways to diminish the value of the champion versus champions match. After the break, Bryan had Punk locked in a downable stretch. Lawler put over how good the match had been and showed a couple of highlights during the break. Punk came back with some kicks. Punk slapped Bryan and hit a top rope elbow drop. Punk sold the abdominal pain and they then signaled for his finisher. Well, Otunga climbed onto the apron. Punk knocked him off. Bryan recovered. Otunga got back on the apron again, but Santino took him out with a Cobra when he got on the apron to even the match up again. Laryngitis pulled Santino down. Teddy and Laurinaitis jogged. Bryan tried to leave with his title belt. Sheamus came from the rampway and pushed him back in the match. Sheamus led Bryan back inside the ring, and then Punk hit the GTS on Bryan. Ref was ready to count the pin, but Laryngitis entered the ring and stopped the match. Punk was hot. Laryngitis begged off. Long entered the ring and shoved Laurinaitis to the mat, which drew a smile from Punk. Oh, speaking of which, Laurinaitis put his hands on Santino as he was just standing there with Teddy, as he was just talking about the match or what have you. So I didn't think they could do that. Put your hands on talent. So he should be fired. Well, they teased that later on in the show. In other words, Laryngitis will not be on Raw next week, but Teddy Long will. And Laurinaitis will be on SmackDown instead. So it looks like they might do a role reversal. Shows. Okay. Punk headed to the ramp while Long, Laurinaitis, Santino, and Otunga bickered in the ring. Jericho ran out and attacked Punk as he was on the stage. Jericho picked up Punk and slammed him onto the steel grating on the stage. Punk screamed in agony while selling the slam, which was just a body slam. Jericho locked Punk in the lion tamer until a couple of referees ran out. Jericho then released the hold, but Punk never tapped out, and he picked up the title belt to glue. Commercial break. Back from the break, champion versus champion match was entertaining, yet it felt unimportant. Fortunately, the Jericho attack on Punk was effective. It says a lot about Punk's popularity, and he's getting the vast majority of the cheers over the usually popular Jericho. Suppose it helps that a lot of hardcore fans would cheer Jericho are also into Punk. I just hope that the WWE eventually follows up by giving us a true winner in a Punk versus Bryan match after WrestleMania. After the break, announcers recapped the Jericho attack on Punk. Then they played up the body slam on the grating and the toll that the lion tamer took on Punk's back. Backstage segment, Josh Matthews said Punk was being treated by a trainer. He said it appeared Punk was more angry than hurt. Announcer then hyped the Undertaker Triple H match, and then a video package recap of their match from last year. Announcer then hyped the WWE website audio interview with Shawn Michaels. Lawler then hyped John Cena versus The Miz for later on. Like a little touch of Lawler emphasizing how vicious the slam on the grating was, Punk did a good job of selling it, and Lawler really put it over by questioning whether Jericho was trying to sell it. Most viewers wouldn't have thought about it, the slam, had it not been for the way Punk and Lawler sold it. And then they showed a video featuring the comments from The Rock Cena, Pat Patterson, Polk, and others. Meanwhile, the Taker vs. Hunter video piece was excellent. WWE's production crew really shines during WrestleMania season. Kelly pinned Nikki Bella in a brief minute 30 match. They read a tweet from Kelly who said Eve is no friend of hers no more. Bree tried to check on her sister at one point, thus teasing the switcheroo, the twin magic. But Kelly kicked her and Nikki rolled up Kelly, who rolled through and bridged while scoring the pinfall. Good finishing sequence to another short Divas match. Are the Bella twins trying to kill their sex appeal with their ring gear? Oh my gosh, that was terribly black. Not much to say about that. The announcer then hyped Big Show and Sheamus tag match versus Mark Henry and Cody Rhodes for later in the show. Then they added that Cena would face The Miz after the break. An ad for SmackDown focused on Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus match at WrestleMania. In other words, no match was hyped for the television show. A Rock DVD commercial aired, which is basically a history of The Rock. John Cena made his entrance. He stopped on the stage, wiped his brow, and said, "What a day it's been," presumably in reference to the travel issues caused by the Daytona 500 rain delays. He looked at someone behind the camera and said, "You grew a beard?" Okay, The Miz came out with a mic in hand and said he's worked too hard to be treated like this. He said WWE called them to represent the company in all forms of media, but yet my name has yet to be called upon for WrestleMania. Miz complained. Miz got upset and told the fans to shut up. And John Cena said, he said the fans would love it, and if he wasn't on WrestleMania, he said it would rectify this crime and prove to everyone that this is WrestleMania worthy, and that he is WrestleMania, and I'm going to do it by beating the man that I beat last year at last year's WrestleMania. Miz said before calmly delivering his catchphrase, "I'm the Miz, and I'm..." Wait for it. "Awful," as the crowd says. Well, he corrected him and said, "Awesome." Well, John Cena beat The Miz in about 4 minutes and 5 seconds. The dueling Cena chant started, and the Cena Sucks chant won the battle. Cena jumped out to an early advantage. Miz came back with a reality check for a near fall. Cena came back with a clothesline and shoulder blocks. Miz cut him off with a DDT after a near fall. Miz followed up with a clothesline in the corner. He went to the top rope, and Cena avoided a move. Cena came back with his usual offense. Cena hit the attitude adjustment and locked in the STF. Miz tapped out. After the match, Cena was watching the referee tend to The Miz when The Rock appeared on the big screen. Cena smiles. Rock was warming up backstage, doing some stand-up jumping. And it kind of looked like he was just jumping rope as he was watching the monitor. Well, that was basically all it was. He looked up into the camera. He waved his hand, Cena style, and then pulled his hand down as if he was pulling down a shade. But it looked like it was actually snapping. Then the camera went to dark along with his hand movement. Back at ringside, a smiling Cena slapped his hands at ringside. Good promo from The Miz prior to the match. It gave his character a purpose going into his millionth match with Cena, and his delivery was strong. Cena showed really good energy during the match by running the rope before hitting some of his usual moves. The Rock appearance on the big screen was cool, and it served as a nice reminder that he's still going to appear. Ring introductions take place for the tag title match. Yes, it's a triple threat tag team match. This match you could tell who was going to win. It was very, very slow when they were doing their moves. Well, before they were doing this and they introduced the introduction took place for the tag title match. I guess they went to commercial during this. Triple H came out during the commercial break and nailed Miz with the pedigree for some unknown reason. We're back from the break. Primo and Upco with Rosa. Rosa defeated Kofi Kingston and R-Truth and Dolph Ziggler and Zack Swagger with Vicky Guerrero in a triple threat match to retain the WWE Tag Titles in 8 minutes 35 seconds. Well, fast-paced, slow action to start off with the wrestlers hitting rapid-fire moves. Well, it started off with Ziggler actually running away from the match at first. R-Truth covered Ziggler for a throwaway 2 count after they had a couple of back and forth punches and what have you when Ziggler got back in the ring. Well, Kingston and Swagger tumbled over the top rope to the floor where all the other wrestlers were. Excuse me. Excuse me. Well, that's the normal. As they're all outside the ring, Cole noted that the ring was empty. They got cut to commercial. Perfect spot for a commercial. After break, the teams are back in the ring and at ringside. Cole said Punk had X-rays and X-rays that were taken and nothing was fractured. Swagger went for a roll, went on a roll with some near falls, but he tried to put the ankle lock on Epico. Kofi came in with trouble in paradise. Primo followed up with a backstabber on Swagger. Epico recovered to make the pin. Kane's music played, and he came to the ring and delivered his finishing moves on everybody. Well, almost everybody. Truth tried to fight Kane, but then he took a choke slam. Took a while, but Kane finally has heel heat in my living room. How dare he interrupt Rosa's post-match jiggling routine? The match was just thrown out there, but it was entertaining. Backstage, Laryngitis and Otunga were talking about the Oscars. Teddy Long walked into the room. Laryngitis tried to kick him out. Teddy said the rumor is that Laryngitis won't be running Raw anymore. Johnny said that he heard a rumor that Teddy has been fired as general manager on SmackDown. Teddy said it's no rumor that Laryngitis is a horse's ass. And the fans chanted horse's ass, so I guess horse's ass was trending worldwide on Twitter. The announcers hyped Sheamus and Big Show versus Henry and Cody. Not much of a match there, in my opinion. And The Rock's appearance for later on the show. Lawler hyped WrestleMania theme song by Flo Rida. Is there a female rapper named Idaho? Okay. Highlights aired of the Eve and John Cena drama from last week. Eve walked into the ring and was booed very loudly, and then the hosky chant started up. She told the fans to go ahead and judge her. I'm a woman living in a man's world, she said. Then she said she tells men that what they want to hear, and they love it. She said that there's not a man in the world who wouldn't love to be used by a woman like her. He said it's not her fault that men can't resist her beauty, and her charm. She said they crumble at her feet like little puppies begging for her affection. She said men shouldn't blame her for her natural strengths, and she goes like this. They should blame themselves for their weakness. Even blew a kiss to the crowd and got more heat before leaving the ring. Wow, I don't know where they're going with the Eve story, but she's shown a range of emotions over the last month, and you can tell that most of them were fake anyways. She has more heat than we've seen any female other than Vicky Guerrero get in a long time. At ringside, Michael Cole asked Lawler if he could resist Eve if she threw herself at him. He had to think about it before answering yes. Well, just as they cut to a backstage segment, he said, yeah. Oh, well, backstage, Kelly was talking and said something about, said Eve is like a totally different person. As she walked up, Eve laughed at her and walked away, leaving Kelly and Alicia Fox, who were talking amongst themselves to each other for no reason before watching Eve walk in the distance. And then they showed a shot of Big Show and Sheamus walking backstage. The announcer set up the trailer for Edge's new movie, Bending the Rules. It's very similar to the Psych comedy cop show. And ad for Friday's WWE SmackDown hyped the return of Randy Orton in a match against Daniel Bryan. Announcers talked briefly about the match and then turned their attention to the GM dispute. They said they both heard rumors that leadership changes could be on the horizon. Introductions for the tag matches took place. Cody took the mic before the match and mentioned that remembered everybody about the WrestleMania with Floyd Mayweather Jr. with Big Show on May 5th. He set up another embarrassing Big Show video with Mayweather punching Big Show in the face at No Way Out back in 2008 and beating him at WrestleMania. Even Cole questioned why Cody would taunt Show. Match number 5, Sheamus and Big Show defeated Mark Henry and Cody Rhodes in 1 minute. Cody tags out to Henry. Show knocked Henry down and then chased Cody. Cody, who ran up the entrance area. Sheamus tagged in a blind tag as Big Show was getting close to running after him. And then Sheamus nails Mark Henry with a brogue kick for the win. Cole hyped another big announcement from WWE Board of Directors for 9 a.m. tomorrow morning Central Time on the WWE website. Lawler assumed it pertained to the general manager's positions. Well, we'll have to wait and see what it is. All the work they put into building up Henry as the badass monster is quickly being erased now that he's injured and being jobbed out on both shows. Shame on him for getting hurt. Seriously, I hope there's more to the story than that. The video features John Cena's promo from last week and hyped WrestleMania 28. Lawler said that the wait is over and viewers would hear from The Rock after the break. The graphic noted that The Rock has more Twitter followers than John Cena, over 1 million. Compared, The Rock has 2 million. Well, John Cena's barely got it's like 2,500,000 and Cena's got maybe 1,500,000. Michael Cole hypes Shawn Michaels will return to Raw next week in Boston. The Rock's music played and he came out to the ring to a huge ovation. Rock held out his arm. He told the crowd to look at his arm and noted that it was covered in goosebumps. Because this feels so damn good. The crowd roared. A boots to asses chant broke out. And Rock pointed to the slogan on the shirt he was wearing, boots to asses. That he was wearing, trust me, we're going to get into some chants all night long, Rock said. Well, this has started at 5 minutes before the hour of 10 o'clock. Now, this may come to you as a shock to a lot of people, but I'm not here every single week. I was here every single week for years and years and years, but that was my job and I love it. You see, The Rock is born and created here in the WWE, and I also know that if it wasn't for the WWE and for all of you, The Rock would never exist. When I came back and I said I was back, I was never going away, I meant it. Now, did I mean that I was going to be back at every single Raw, every night, every single SmackDown? No, that's not what I meant. And that's not what was ever expected. Well, now it goes into the overshow. Rock said someone in the back could take it literally if they wanted to, because unlike you, and you know who I'm talking to, I respect the audience. And the crowd interrupts with a Fruity Pebbles chant. Damn, I love that chant, Rock said. Unlike you, I respect the audience's intelligence because they know that I was born in this business and that they know that my heart and my soul is in this business. And they also know that I am standing in the middle of this ring right now and no other reason than I love the WWE. And I will always be a part of the WWE and the WWE will always be a part of me. Everybody can basically read his script from there. Well, John Cena, you know, for years I used to think that you were a phony. For years I thought there was no way that the guy who graduated from private school all of a sudden because the doctor of thugonomics, he was from the streets, he was from the hood. Yeah. Rock said he realized that Cena isn't a phony. He said Cena is that guy who came out and ran him down last week. He recalled Cena saying that he has to go through people to talk to him. The Rock said Cena has a cell phone number. However, he said he doesn't want to talk to him because he would rather slap him in the face with a piece of Kung Pao chicken. You see, John, You're not a phony, and I don't even think you're a bad guy, Rock said. But you are, what you are is a Kung Pao bitch. Fans chanted Kung Pao bitch for about a minute. Rock says the fans are tired of being not being entertained, and that's where he comes in. Rock says he lives to entertain. When he gets together with the fans, they innovate and trailblazed. Rock goes on and goes on and goes on as the crowd does some chants. He goes on with more to saying and gets to chant Cena's missing balls. By the way, they're trending worldwide on Twitter. Believe it or not, finally John Cena's music hits and out he comes. Well, this is at 15 minutes past the hour. And I was just saying, well, there's like 6 minutes left in the actual recording time on my DVR. Cena goes on and says he's the guy who runs down when Rock's not here. Cena says he also runs the Rock down when he is here. Cena says Rock is an egotistical bitch and wouldn't care if WWE was close their doors tomorrow. Cena says he doesn't need notes for his promos written on his wrist, as he's taking his wristbands off like Rock. Rock gets closer to Cena's face now. Cena cuts a promo in Rock's face and says he's going to beat the hell out of him at WrestleMania. Cena leaves the ring and tells The Rock to keep trending. Rock brings up Cena leaving before he could smack the lips off of his face, as he said it. Rock says he knows Cena is back there listening now, as he's still walking up the ramp. Rock says Dwayne Johnson and The Rock is the same man in here and out there. Rock says Cena runs his mouth about being tough, but they both know Cena isn't tough. Rock says the only thing that matters is Team Bring It is going to kick Cena's candy ass all over WrestleMania. If you smell what he's cooking, Rock tosses the mic and poses as Raw goes off the air, and that will end my Raw results.